So now, do you remember when Windows XP first came out? Well, I remember that very good because, and now this point kind of fails, but I remember I was thrilled that even the error dialogues looks like they have been built out of Lego, which was my favorite thing at the point. I also remember that now the cursor suddenly have this very cool drop shadow. It kind of stood forward a bit. And also the start menu had this, let's see, have this animation. When you click the button, the start menu like slides down. It's not that big thing, but it kind of gives you the metaphor that if you click the button, you know where the menu is going. It's like, I'm hiding down here, don't freak out. And also the icons were so cool. They were so real. You could almost touch them. It was the best 3D I had ever seen. You know, I was 11 years old, and I found this extremely fascinating. Maybe not the typical things 11-year-old sees in a computer, but I found that really cool. It was the perfect system, almost. And so I had this habit of like rearranging things in the house to a frustration of my parents. This is when I made the most awesome rainforest in the living room. And I figured, if I can rearrange things in real life, why can't I just rearrange windows? So I opened PowerPoint, and I started drawing my own version of Windows. Actually, I did this for several years. I sat and draw how I wanted the buttons to look, how I wanted the mouse to like behave. And did you know if you create a new slide in PowerPoint like 500 times and you set the transition to 0, you can create these smooth animations, like old school animations, where it just hammers through like 25 frames per second, depending on how fast your computer is. So these are just some screenshots from one of the versions I made. There's like hundreds of digital sketches. So some years later, my family and I moved to Spain for a couple of months. And instead of going like, yay, I can spend all the time on the beach, I went to the nearest bar. And I said, can I borrow your internet? Because, you know, no matter how naive this might sound, I fundamentally believe that I, Eirik Backer, 14 years old, could make a better Windows than Microsoft could do. The only thing I failed at was using PowerPoint. So I started making these little projects for myself. Every day I went to the bar and I surfed the net just to see what can I do with code. And every day I took 5 pictures and edited them, even though I didn't know Photoshop or anything. And it could be anything from structures like this to stuff I saw in my life, which was kind of disturbing, or just cliche photos like this one, you know. The point was not to be brilliant, but to experiment so that someday maybe I could create something like Windows. And you all surely know how it feels when you have these moments of realization, when you finally understand something. It wasn't until high school, actually, when a fellow student of mine turned over and said, how can I create the perfect poster when I don't even know how to use Photoshop? That I all of a sudden realized that my naive thought that I could beat Microsoft in creating Windows by using PowerPoint maybe wasn't so naive after all. Maybe it was the only sane thing to do if I ever wanted to succeed in anything. If you think about it for a second, how many of you have ever stopped yourself from doing something or from creating something, maybe applying for a job, or maybe even from expressing your opinion, just because you didn't know how to do it in advance? You see, I found my secret source of creativity that I would like to share with you. It's maybe not top secret, and it's maybe just pointing out the obvious, but all my life, I have fundamentally believed that I can do anything. I don't see any tool or person or system as a definite blocker that can stop me from doing what I want. And this is true for you too. If you allow yourself to be this naive, you also allow yourself to be creative and break boundaries. And you don't need the tools, you don't need to know all the correct answers, you don't need to be perfect. Actually, people don't expect you to be perfect. And I know this is not rocket science, but still I see a lot of people going through their whole life unaware of what their talent is, maybe because they're not naive enough to even try to figure out, what is my talent? Do I have a dream? What is the dream? Can I follow it? When I started redesigning Windows 11 years ago, I didn't let my knowledge limit me. Today I have my own company. I work with clients all over the world. I teach. I've created websites that are visited by millions of people because of unique solutions. But most important, I'm still naive enough to believe that I can do whatever I want, nothing can stop me, and I can make a living out of that. If I find a website that looks like crap and I think this deserves better, I make a sketch and send it to the owner, because why shouldn't I be the one that can fix this? If I have a client asking me, like, could we do this design, and I don't like it, I say, no, we can't. Because why should I go against my goal on creating good communication? When I was asked today to give this talk, or when I was asked to go to Trinidad and redesign the website of the largest communication company in the Caribbean, I was like, okay, why shouldn't I do it? So my simple message to you is, regardless of how far-fetched an idea might seem, when you do something you love, and you really have this genuine belief that I can do my stuff and get this idea live, people start appreciating your courage. They start appreciating your enthusiasm, and your own boundaries are put in second place in favor for your creativity. So even when you realize that fateful moment that PowerPoint is not going to help you create the next Windows, keep being naive, because you can make an impact. That's it. Thank you.